So let's talk about Oscar Pistorious. I might as well do it because I want to put my opinion out there, even though, what, 3 people, 5 max are only ever going to see it, so it doesn't matter. Unless people are searching YouTube for videos about Oscar Pistorious. But anyway, hello, I'm Claire, and I think Oscar Pistorious is innocent. Innocent, and if you're thinking innocent of what, then you obviously haven't been watching the news for the past week. It's just the most tragic thing ever. I mean, isn't it? Unless, of course, you think he's guilty, in which case you're thinking, I hate her right now. Why is she believing it in him? Whatever. But, I mean, after hearing that he's been crying in court all week, doesn't your heart go out to him just a little bit? I mean, it's only the bail hearing, for God's sake, and he spent the whole week sobbing, the poor guy. And, I mean, I've looked on the internet a little bit, and there's so much hatred out there for him. And it's only been a week since poor Eva died. And that's terrible. I mean, it just sounds like the biggest tragedy. I could say since Romeo and Juliet, but I'm probably going to get hatred for that as well, so just forget that. But, I collected my thoughts together before I started this video, but I need to keep thinking, so pardon me for silence while I rearrange myself out here. Oh. Oscar. I mean, obviously I don't know him personally, but his chosen profession is an athlete, right? So the fact he's been crying in court all week, I think that's genuine. I mean, don't you? He's not an actor. He's not a wannabe actor, as far as I know. And that's not his chosen profession, so if he's faking it, he's doing a pretty damn good job, don't you? I mean, wouldn't you agree, right? So, it seems like he's just a broken man. I mean, if you just accidentally shot your girlfriend, wouldn't you be the same way, right? You'd be heartbroken, you'd be crying the whole time. I mean, wherever he is stashed away now, he's out on bail, he's probably just sitting there crying the whole time and probably wishing he could get drunk out of his mind just to help take the pain away, you know, because that's, I mean, if I can just even a little bit try to put myself in that place, which I would never want to be in, then I'd want to be the same, you know. People use alcohol to block out painful things, and that's one of his bail conditions. He can't drink, poor chap, so he's just stuck in this pit of despair, knowing that the whole world probably hates him. But I'm one of the ones that doesn't. He's innocent, and only time will tell if the courts agree, and that's true, of course. But the story that he's put out there so far, I believe him. I mean, sure, there's discrepancies, but the amount of guns the guy had in the house, doesn't that tell you anything about his level of paranoia? Okay, as far as I can see, he was so extremely paranoid. I mean, living in South Africa, that's probably a little bit of an outlaw state anyway. The level of violence and guns and everything that just goes on now, I don't really know, but it seems like Oscar was super paranoid. He had so many guns, and so the moment that night where he thought there was maybe an intruder in the house because he heard a noise, right, from what he said, as far as he's concerned, Reeve is in bed asleep. So the noise is somebody else. So suddenly, right, the paranoia takes over, and he's thinking, oh my God, he's too paranoid. There's someone in the house. I've got to protect myself and my girlfriend, and in my house, right, there's someone in here who either wants to do us harm or rob me, or both, or you know. So he's super paranoid and super scared. I think going that sort of paranoia, being super afraid, goes along with that. So he's paranoid, he's scared, and he's armed, right? That's dangerous. So in that state of mind, he's not thinking rationally. He's not thinking, well, actually, it could be my girlfriend in the bathroom. He's just thinking, I've heard a sound, there's an intruder in my house, and that's all that's on his mind. And in that state of mind, after he supposedly started shouting the intruder to get out, it's possible people would have heard him and realised that he thought that she was a burglar and shouted something to him. But in that state of mind, I don't think he'd have heard her. Do you know what I mean? So it's just awful. And then when he got back to bed and realised that she wasn't there, no, he went to find out. He supposedly went back to bed because she hadn't replied to his shouts to call the police or whatever. So and then he realised she wasn't there, and then he thought, oh my god, I've just shot my girlfriend. And then panic of a whole different kind takes over, and he's just ruined his life. And so he's heartbroken, and it only happened just over a week ago, and suddenly the whole world hates him. He's a cold-blooded murderer. I mean, this poor guy that's been crying in court every day that he's been in court this for the last week, you really think he's a cold-blooded killer? I'm sorry, but I just can't agree. Perhaps I'm too compassionate. And that's a little bit about me. I'm compassionate, and if I see somebody with some kind of pain, emotional or real or physical, I want to feel for them just a little bit. But I just can't feel any hatred for him. And I guess I wouldn't be surprised if he killed himself. If the place he's in is that dark and what he says happened is what really happened, then isn't that just the most terrible thing ever? And for all of those of you who don't agree with me, that's fine. That's your right, absolutely. If you believe that he did it on purpose and you want to hate him, you go ahead. But don't put any hatred on me for my opinion. Okay, everyone has their own opinions and they're entitled to that. But when people start hating each other for having opposite opinions, that's when you get the kind of violence that was going on in Northern Ireland and the UK over the whole island thing that's been going on for years. But that's a whole other video. Okay, but just don't hate on me for my opinion. If you have a different opinion, sure, feel free to let it out. But I just think he's innocent. And only time will tell if the South African courts agree with that, you know. Because the prosecution is going to paint him as this terrible guy. Look what he did, look what one person is, and drag all his skeletons out of the closet. But anyway, that's what I think. So, thank you for watching. And if you have an opinion on the subject, which I'm sure you do, feel free to write about it in the comment section below, okay? Or post video response out of the 5 people that are ever going to see this, okay? Thank you. Goodbye.